International News.
Ahead of the 71st session of the UN General Assembly, President Muhammadu Buhari arrives in New York in spite of the Manhattan bomb explosion. Nigeria reactivates measures to forestall outbreak of polio following reported cases recently. Plus, Team Nigeria to the 2016 Rio Paralympics returns to Abuja after an impressive performance at the Games. Hello there and a warm welcome to NTR International News on this hour. My name is Justin Bemunyen. Glad to have you join us. President Muhammadu Buhari is in New York, United States, ahead of the 71st session of the United Nations General Assembly. State House correspondent Adamu Sambo reports.
President Muhammadu Buhari arrived JFK International Airport at about 7:30 Saturday evening local time to begin a week-long official visit to New York. On hand to receive him were the governors of Zamfara and Lagos states, ministers of foreign affairs, interior, mines and steel development, as well as environment, the national security advisor, and other senior government officials. During the visit, President Buhari is expected to join other world leaders at the opening of the United Nations General Assembly and deliver Nigeria's statement on the theme Sustainable Development Goals, a universal push to transform our world. He will also attend a series of meetings and events of significant interest to Nigeria and lead discussions at the United States Africa Business Forum, focusing on investment opportunities in Nigeria. The president is scheduled to hold high-level interactions with some world leaders on his long-standing commitment to the restoration of peace and security in the Northeast and the Niger Delta region, as well as attracting more investments towards revamping the economy and developing critical infrastructure.
You know, there are three thematic areas for President Buhari's administration: security, anti-corruption, and then the economy. A lot of people are saying, yes, he has done well in security, he has done well in anti-corruption. Now he needs to look much more closely at the economy. So it is expected that in whatever way these countries can collaborate with Nigeria. Nigeria is currently in recession. The country wants to spend the shortest possible time in that recession. So our president will be talking with those other presidents on how their countries can make impact on our own economy to the benefit of Nigerians.
At another event organized by Nigeria, President Buhari will deliver a keynote address highlighting the urgent need for international response to the distressing situation in the Lake Chad Basin.
You know that the Nigerian president has been at the forefront of that campaign since the COP21 conference in Paris last year. He had always brought up the issue. Now at the UN, the issue is coming up, so it's another opportunity to bring it before the global community. I think more than 9 million are liable to displacement because of the shrinking nature of the Lake Chad. It's an opportunity for the world to do something about it.
The 71st session of the United Nations General Assembly begins on Tuesday. From New York, Adamu Sambo, NTA News.
Minister of Water Resources Suleiman Adamu says Nigeria and other African countries will benefit from the resolutions during the World Water Week in Stockholm. The minister was speaking on the gains of the annual event in Sweden. Correspondent Musbao Danwahab reports.
The common interest here is water, and the quest for water security and sanitation is driving the 25th edition of the gathering of World Water Week in Sweden. At the meeting, African ministers of water evaluated progress in implementing the development instruments seeking water for all, such as Africa Vision 2025, SDGs, and Agenda 2063. Specifically, Nigeria went a step further to maximize benefits. After inspecting the exhibition stand, Minister of Water Resources Suleiman Adamu expressed satisfaction that Nigeria is on track in the drive to reforming a water sector.
I've had a couple of meetings and everybody is interested to know what we're doing, and by the time I run down some elements of our roadmap, which we just launched in Abuja, we are getting quite excited, and they think that we are striking a chord with them.
According to available records, 61% of people in Africa still lack access to improved sanitation, while 663 million require access to safe water.
And the world is paying attention to finding means to make it easier for developing countries and poor countries to be able to support their water projects so that we can achieve the SDGs.
In Abuja, Musbah and Wahab, NT News.
The Speaker House of Representatives, Yakubu Dogara, says to combat the economic recession confronting the nation is a collective responsibility of all Nigerians. The Speaker said that these are the Ogun State Government House at a dinner with Governor Ibikunle Amosun. Lekon Agbonde has the details.
The Speaker, Yakubu Dogara, accompanied by some members of the House, visited Abuja to honor one of the elder statesmen and father of a former Speaker, Chief Alani Bankole, who is celebrating 75th birthday. Right Honorable Dogara, who commended Governor Amosun for his exemplary leadership, noted that the APC family will always recognize, appreciate, and proud of performing governors across the country. He expressed his delight with the way Nigerians from various quarters are working towards taking the nation out of the present economic challenges, saying the House of Representatives will soon take its position on it.
A lot of society in the past, civilizations have passed through these kind of challenges, but it is always men and women of those generations that will always stand up to the challenges and make sure that they solve them. So,
the Governor, Ibikunle Amosun, while welcoming the Speaker, noted that the three arms of government have their peculiarities, but the legislature is unique in its own way.
State House of Assembly, and you know, it's a different ballgame. Executive arm is good, but it's better at the legislative arm. So, thank you.
In Abuja, Lekon Agbonde, NTA News.
Over now to health issues. FCT administration has reiterated its commitment to the nation's campaign to end polio. The FCT Minister Mohammed Musa Bello gave the assurance in a message at the flag off of the Sub-National Immunization Plus Days in Karamajiji, Abuja. Hakimat Aliu has details.
Nigeria was delisted from the polio endemic countries in September 2015 until the recent outbreak confirmed in Borno State. In another effort to kick polio out of Nigeria, the FCT administration has taken up measures to ensure the territory remains polio-free.
The FCT administration will spare nothing to ensure that polio ends now. The Honourable Minister has asked me to please implore all the area council chairmen to make sure that this immunization gets to every household in every area council.
The AMAC chairman Abdullahi Adamu Candido and the Serkin Jiwa Musa Idris pledges support for the immunization campaign.
The council has reactivated its task force and they are working assiduously for the success of the program.
Whatever necessary advice to give to our minister and the chairman of AMAC, we are going to do it.
The Gurago settlement in Karmajiji was selected for the flag-off ceremony due to its peculiarities.
Because of lower immunity, they don't have good water supply. We decided to come and give them a health camp, and we are immunizing every child in this community and all others.
The 4-day Sub-National Immunization Plus Days is aimed at vaccinating children within 0 to 59 months against poliomyelitis. In Abuja, Hakimat Aliu, NTA News.
And in a similar development, the Taraba State government, in partnership with international donor agencies, are taking proactive steps to forestall any outbreak of polio virus disease in the state. Correspondent Joseph Otin reports on the flag-off of the 4-day war towards second outbreak response Sub-National Polio Immunization Plus Days in Jalingo, the state capital.
The second round flag-off of polio outbreak campaign by the Taraba state government comes barely 3 weeks after a similar program was launched by the state government in Kona, Jalingo local government area. The program is in partnership with the World Health Organization (WHO) and the United Nations Children's Fund (UNICEF), aiming at preventing any outbreak of polio in the state, especially after the recurrence in the neighboring Borno state. Governor Darius Dixon Ishaku expressed the desire to open up more channels of partnership with international donor agencies to provide healthcare services to the people.
My decision to personally flag up the outbreak response is conceived by my burning desire to ensure that every mother has a safe delivery, every eligible child receives 2 drops of the polio vaccine, and quality return care through quality healthcare service provided by the rescue mission.
The State Commissioner for Health, Dr. Innocent Vakai, and the Executive Secretary State Primary Healthcare Development, Alhaji Aminu Jaro Hassan, for continually paying counterpart funds for healthcare services in the state. This, they pointed out, is a demonstration of its commitment to healthy living, especially in tackling all child killer diseases. Acting State Coordinator of WHO, Dr. Jerry Pontuvo, acknowledged that the re-emergence of 3 polio cases in Nigeria after marking 2 years without the dreaded disease is a clear indication that healthcare services in the country need to be strengthened.
We have trained and deployed over 8,000 personnel that will go house to house in our healthcare centers and everywhere.
The last time Taraba State recorded a case of poliovirus is in September 2013. Vaccine storage devices were distributed to all the local governments of the state through their chairman. In Jalingo, Joseph Uten, NTA News.
Meanwhile, the first batch of 500 pilgrims for the 2016 Hajj from Ilorin zone have arrived home. Abdul Wahib Bibiri reports that the pilgrims were hale and hearty on arrival at the Ilorin International Airport.
After about 5 hours airborne from King Abdulaziz International Airport, Jeddah, the first batch of 500 pilgrims comprising of males and females alighted at the Ilorin International Airport. The pilgrims on arrival were received by officials of the Nigerian Immigration Service, National Hajj Commission and the Nigerian Airport Authority. They were thereafter taken to the arrival lounge for clearance. Some of the pilgrims who spoke to NTA described their journey to the Holy Land as successful, particularly the arrangement put in place by the Kwara State Muslim Pilgrims Welfare Board. About 1,973 pilgrims from Ilorin Zone, made up of Kwara, Ondo, and Ekiti State, performed the 2016 Hajj exercise. Abdul Wahid Bibiri, NTA News.
You are watching NTA International News, and still to come, less privileged kids turning tennis stars. Details when we return.
Hear the call of change. Stand up, Nigeria. Change is here and it's going to stay. Change begins with you. Oh yeah, make we go. Go to so let the change begin from within. Look at you, Ogeruola. Change begins with you and me. Change begins with me. Change begins with me. Change begins with me.
This message is brought to you by the Federal Ministry of Information and Culture.
NTA International News. Africa as it is.
And thanks for being there. Next is business news with Olayin Kaujo.
Oil fell to a one-month low in New York on speculation that the resumption of shipments from Libya and Liberia might add to the global surplus. Futures dropped as much as 2.7%. Libya and Nigeria, whose supplies have been reduced by domestic conflicts, are preparing to boost exports within weeks. The International Energy Agency said the oil surplus will last longer than previously thought. In the meantime, OPEC Secretary General Mohamed Bakindo said the meeting of OPEC members and non-OPEC producers in Algiers this month would be an informal meeting for consultation and not for decision-making. Algeria's energy minister said there is a consensus among OPEC and non-OPEC producers about the need to stabilize the oil market to support prices. Saudi Arabia and Russia agreed this month to cooperate in oil markets, saying they could limit future outputs that pushed up prices, on the view in markets that the two top oil producers will be working together to tackle oversupply. The National Bureau of Statistics says the Consumer Price Index, which measures inflation, increased year-on-year from 17.1% in July to 17.6% in the month of August. The Bureau in the Consumer Price Index report for the month of August said the rise was caused by increases in the price of electricity, gas, fuel, and housing. The report stated that both the urban and rural prices continued to rise in the month of August. On a month-on-month basis, it added that both urban and rural index increased at a slower pace. The overnight Naira interbank lending rate rose sharply to an average of 40%, up from 15% last Friday after the Central Bank of Nigeria debited bank accounts for treasury bills and bonds purchases. Dealers said the large cash withdrawal to settle debt purchases led to some commercial banks scrambling for Naira cash to meet their immediate obligation, pushing up the cost of borrowing among banks. The federal government raised 121 billion Naira in an auction of local currency bonds and 183 billion Naira in short-dated treasury bills. Olainka Ojo, NTA News.
The Nigerian Air Force, in continuation of its efforts at flushing remnants of the Boko Haram terrorists, conducted several airstrikes at suspected Boko Haram locations on the outskirts of Tobin, Guinea and Tobin, Kayewa in Borno State. The Director of Public Relations, Nigerian Air Force Group Captain Famuyiwa, in a statement revealed that the operation held on Friday, 16th September, was as a result of ground-based intelligence and successive surveillance reports. The Air Force, in a post-strike battle damage assessment of the strikes, revealed that many casualties were recorded. And Adebola Brooklyn Sunday is standing by for news across the globe.
The United Nations mission in the Central African Republic says at least 20 people have been killed in fighting between rival rebel groups. UN peacekeepers say they have intervened to stop further violence.
And before President Muhammadu Buhari has arrived in New York for a week-long official visit, where he is also expected to present Nigeria's statement as he joins other world leaders at the opening of the UN General Assembly. We also reported that Nigeria athletes and officials to the 2016 Rio Paralympics are back in the country after an impressive performance at the Games, with 8 gold, 2 silver and 2 bronze medals, now rated as #1 in Africa, having finished 16th on the medals table. And that's the news from NT International Newsroom. We say thank you very much for being there. I'm Justin Bemunyi.